Hey guys, welcome to TVI Tips from Amanda. I just want to talk a little bit about the way that I make videos for my students because I think there might be an opportunity coming up for some of us to do some digital or distance learning for our students. So everything that I use is readily available at your home probably, or at your schools definitely. I use a Windows-based computer, so the software that I use is for Windows computers. They're not available on Chromebooks, but there are other things that are available if you search out there for free online screen recorders. And actually Windows has a built-in screen capturing system already that you could use, but I prefer this website called Powersoft. I'm going to bring that up on my screen right here. It is free online screen recorder. You can have unlimited recordings and you have a lot of flexibility with what you can do. And when you're using your screen, I'm going to show you here, you can pull up like an arrow button and draw arrows. You can type on your screen. And I'm going to have to delete these things with an eraser button. But you can highlight information, you can draw lines and boxes. And so for your students who are low vision, that's really helpful for, kind of making things stand out in video. So on your screen right now, you see my entire desktop and you see the apowersoft.com website. You can just type that in and it'll come up. Once you type on it, or once you bring the website up, you click on start. No, before you can click on start recording, I'm going to go to my presentation. Maybe. Now my computer's mad at me because I have my options. Let's try that. There we go. So you'll click on start recording and a pop-up window will come up that asks you if you want to download the software. It's not malware, so you're okay to download it. It will show up in the bottom left of your browser or in your download folder. It's called a Powersoft-online-LA something, and it's an executable file. So you would open that up and run it like usual. It just puts a tiny little chunk of software on your computer so that it can access your desktop and record whatever's on the screen and then save it into a folder. I'm going to show you that in a second. When you open the software, this is kind of all that you see, this bar at the bottom, and whoops, I went too far. This bar at the bottom, and then a screen that you can manipulate. So you would click on record to record. You have the option of a full screen, or you can target parts of the screen. Most of the time I'm recording inside of Google Sheets, so I make it just show the sheet itself. You can, and that's on the region section. You can use system sounds and a microphone, or just one or the other. And you have the option to turn the webcam on and off. And so on this video, I have my webcam on because I kind of want to show you some of the other things that I'm using. Usually I don't use my webcam because it's distracting for my students. And then you can sign yourself up for an account to have videos that have no limit for how long they are. And then you have options in this more section. So the next screen, I have what those options look like. There are keyboard commands for starting and stopping your video. Control Alt F1 stops, and Control Alt F1 starts it, and Control Alt F2 stops it. You can pause. So sometimes my kids, I can hear them getting loud in the other room, so I will pause my recording and then come back. And then if the recording bar, right now it's on the middle of my screen, if that's annoying to you, you can Control Alt F4 and it'll hide that and bring it back up. I do caution you though to make sure you remember that control, because if you Alt F4, you're going to close whatever program you're in. It also shows you the directory for where it's going to be saving your files in case you forget where that is. After you're done recording, it will pop up with the video that you just made so that you can review it, save it, upload it to the cloud, or just access it in the folder. So that's kind of just a brief introduction of Powersoft. I have found it to be extremely useful, user-friendly. I didn't need any training or to read anything about it in order to use it independently. So we've covered a little bit about the screen recording software, and I want to just show you some examples of some things that I've recorded in the past. So on the screen right now, you have it's probably zoomed out because you're accessing my whole screen, but I sometimes will record readings for my students where I write short stories or just practice sentences for my students, and then I will color code them because this particular student has low vision, or sometimes I'll put a tactile sticker so that my student can keep track of where I am, and I will make a video that says, okay, today we're reading story 1-23, make sure you have that one, and then we'll say, you know, start on the purple line for this one, or I might say start on the line that has a star, and then go through all those things. And you can see that I chunk it out here and have just one line per slide. The reason I put an image of whatever I'm recording on the screen is because I want my students to use these when I'm not there, which is perfect for when we're talking about the situation where we might have distance ed or online learning, because a parent who's not familiar with Braille can see what's on the screen and can help monitor with your guidance the student while he or she is reading, so they can see exactly what line the student should be reading. And you can kind of do like a guided reading together. The parent could be listening to that. You can also send a print copy of what's there so the parent can reinforce and see what the student is reading. But I like having the student listen along to me, because then you have this errorless learning type thing where the student is not going to be practicing reading things incorrectly. So this is just an example of how you might do some fluency practice, some just practice with vocabulary words or spelling words or all that good stuff. And then this is an example of, I have used this particular slideshow or setup of slideshow for two different reasons. One of them is to do writing. So this one's called W2 for writing to. And so I pull the word up on the screen, I read the word, I talk about how we write that word, and then I ask the student to write it. And depending on the independent level of my student, I might say, okay, we're gonna write A, press a dot one. Okay, now we're gonna make a T for the last part of at, and we'll talk about dots 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure you're using the correct fingers and then press it. But also for my students who are dual media students who might need to just practice reading the sight word, this is another way for them to just practice with the teacher some errorless learning and have that positive reinforcement where it's not us just giving them an assignment and hoping they're doing it correctly. So this is kind of like why I prefer to do assignments like this for when I'm not there to reinforce Braille practice in the classroom. And I thought these would be great ways to do this for students if they have to do some digital learning for some period of time. So you have the computer, you have whatever spreadsheets you want to use or however you want to present the information. You have a Powersoft for recording your screen. The next thing we have to talk about is how to have clarity of voice. Most computers and laptops have built-in microphones, and unfortunately those do not usually record audio clearly. So you have the option of some earbuds, which I have right here. I'm not using the microphone in my earbud, but the earbud microphone is quite clear. Another option is to go to Walmart and just get a standard desktop microphone. I have a blue, let me see if I can get it. This is a blue Yeti microphone. It's more of a professional type microphone, but I really like how clear my voice sounds because I think it's really important for my students to have that clarity of voice. But Walmart and Target have, you know, headsets with microphones on them for relatively cheap, and the quality of their audio is great. But I just really encourage you not to use your desktop or laptop microphone because it's going to sound really fuzzy. So I hope this helps you as you start thinking about how to present Braille instruction digitally. I don't provide distance learning, or I don't provide distance teaching for my students, but I do reinforce Braille literacy and practice by creating videos kind of like this for my students to use when I'm not around, and they've been super helpful. So I'm hoping that this system kind of works out if we have to go out of school for a period of time. Thanks.